guys, hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you're new here. We're going to be talking about Sister Wives Clan, Kody Brown, Janelle Brown, Trolley Brown, Christine Brown. I don't know why I said Janelle Brown before I said Christine Brown, but we're going to talk about Janelle Brown as well. But you guys, news broke yesterday that I think it was yesterday. That's when I saw it. News broke yesterday that Christine Brown has taken legal action against Kody, which is honestly something. If you would have told me like years ago that one of the sister wives would end up taking legal action against Kody, I would have been like, what? No way. There's no way they're going to do that because they have been conditioned, back when they were all married and they were all in this religion, they have really been conditioned to believe that you do not go to the police, you do not go to court, you do not do that because you do not bring attention to yourself when you live a polygamous lifestyle. Because for years, polygamy, especially like where they lived back in Utah, um, in Vegas, it was illegal, specifically in Vegas. Let's see. Or no, it was in Utah. Like they had to leave Utah because they were being investigated. And back then, you could do jail time for this. Now they have since changed the laws that are not as harsh. It's like a misdemeanor if you are living that sort of lifestyle. But for all the years that they were married, it was a big deal to not involve the police. Even whenever Kody and Christine split up and they met in her house before she sold the house, where they were discussing custody and things like that, Kody literally tried to like fluff Christine's, like fluff her up and tell her like, oh, you don't need to go through the courts. Like, you don't want to do that. Honestly, I found out if you go through the court, like, I'll end up probably getting like more than you'll even get. And literally convincing Christine that it would be the wrong thing if they were to go through the court to handle anything. Um, well, Janelle, who has been out of this like way of thinking for a while. Honestly, even when he was telling Christine, if I said Janelle, I do apologize. I don't know why my brain keeps going to Janelle. But honestly, like when they sat down and he was feeding Christine this fluff, Christine said in her confessionals, like, whatever, like, he's just like telling me this, like, this is not accurate. I don't think this is accurate. Like, I don't think the information he's giving me is like accurate information. She already at that point had enough like disassociation from everything that she had been living for the past like however many years to be like, I think he's pulling my leg with this. I think he is just not wanting me to take legal action because in the end it would benefit her and it would not benefit him. And Kody knows the legal world enough to know that he is their father. He's not on their birth certificate, but they could absolutely get child support from him. And by child support, if you don't agree on an amount, like they want to know how much money you make. He will have to turn in his taxes for, I know in Louisiana, it's for 2 years to let them know how much you've made for the past 2 years so they can figure out how much child support you're going to pay a child. Now, Kody, like, he has never been one to dive in to, his revenue, like how he obtains his revenue. Like, for years of being on the show, he never disclosed exactly what it was that he did outside of the show. Like, I'm a businessman, I'm a salesman, or whatever. It was years later that we found out that he sold weapons. He sold guns. I can kind of understand why, like, he might not have put that out there because, in today's climate, a lot of people look down on that. But he wasn't even putting it out there way before, like, I feel like it was even like an issue, honestly. But either way, Christine has been out of the fog, the sister wives fog. I just learned the word adoption fog, adoptee fog. I think there's also that fog for people that live in like cultish like lifestyles. They have to get out of the fog, and they kind of wake up. Yeah, Janelle was like the one that dealt with her taxes and like financially kind of knew how much money was in the bank. She worked like hand in hand with her accountant and everything. So Janelle was like, she had a lot of knowledge about their finances. and how to handle their finances. But I still think Janelle would not be one. Like, I think that it would take Janelle a lot before she, I know she says on this episode or on this season, she says, like, I might have to lock her up. But I would be shocked if she did, just because I feel like out of Christine and Janelle, Christine is the one that's more like out of the lifestyle, doesn't believe any of it, and would be more likely to take that route. I feel like Janelle still has some sort of the beliefs that they kind of, believed and held on to. Whereas Christine, she's like done with all of it. You know what I'm saying? So she leaves the family. She meets David. And she starts living somewhat of a normal lifestyle. She's getting tattoos. You see Truly in like a what are those things called? Selena and his dinos. Selena, she used to wear them like on stage, like a just a God. There was a picture that they posted with Truly, and she's like back out. Like, we're back in the day. Like, you weren't gonna Christine and the wives. They didn't wear spaghetti straps. If they did, they had a long sleeve shirt on under it, or something that covered their shoulders. Their kids, they didn't allow their kids back then to dress like that. But like Christine is just kind of coming so far out of it that I think she's realized, like, no, legal action is fine. Legal action is a-okay. You know what I'm saying? Like, so she filed a lawsuit against Kody. Now the way that it works in Louisiana is when you file for child support, a bustier. Thank you. When you file for child support, if the father is not listed on the birth certificate, the judge then orders a paternity test. So we are seeing in the court documents that a paternity test has been ordered. I don't know if that's something that Christine specifically requested, like, hey, I want him to take a paternity test so legally he can be acknowledged, or if she filed for child support and the judge said, well, first we need the paternity test so he can be legally identified as the father. It doesn't really matter. Either way, it's been requested. So let's go over these court documents really quickly. All right. All right. Bear with me, guys. And I'm not all the way better, so I'm trying. Yeah, Utah has different laws, but I was reading, and it's kind of the same in every place. If a father is not on the birth certificate, when someone files for child support, no, they can file for a DNA test. That can be filed for first. But if it's not filed for and someone just goes and files for child support, they have to acknowledge paternity. A judge is not going to order child support for a man if he's not acknowledged as the father. You know what I'm saying? Like, at least to my knowledge, I don't think that he would. Now I do know of circumstances where a man started dating this girl. She was already pregnant. She was like 2 months pregnant. He signed the birth certificate for that child. And when you sign the birth certificate, you also sign an acknowledgement of paternity. On that form, you basically say, I am agreeing that I am the father without blood work being done. I am saying I acknowledge that I am the father. There may be a chance that I'm not the father, but I am acknowledging legally that I am. You know what I'm saying? It's always been questioned if he was on their birth certificate. I know that because, like, legally, he could only marry one of them to not get caught. He would not. I've always heard this, and I don't know if this is true. Used it too much, the nail just flew right off. I don't know how true this is, but I have heard that a lot of polygamous men will not be on their other children's birth certificate to not bring any attention to themselves. So they will only sign the birth certificate of the woman that they actually married. So, like Mary, he was married to Mary. If they did things the way, like, I've read about, that is like kind of common in that sort of lifestyle. If they went, like, I guess the route that is normal, and either way, I read that normally B said, I'll put myself in timeout. You're good, girl. You're good. Normally what they would do is whoever he was married with, if she had children, he was on the birth certificate. Any of the other wives, spiritual wives, had children, he did not sign the birth certificate. But he would be there for them. So I don't know if that's the case here, but because a paternity test has been ordered, it makes me think that he has, because I know in Louisiana and Utah laws are different. Uh, Laws are different everywhere. I know in Louisiana, if you sign that acknowledgement stating that you are the father and you sign that birth certificate, they normally will not, like, they take. I literally know a guy that was put up on child support because he signed it. The woman, he got with this woman, she was like 2 months pregnant. He knew it wasn't his. She knew it wasn't his, but he signed that acknowledgement because they had dated like prior. It was like a reconnect thing, like, oh, we reconnected. We do love each other. And she had the baby, and he signed the acknowledgement of paternity and the birth certificate, and they ended up breaking up like 2 or 3 years down the road, and she took him to court for child support, and he was on the baby's birth certificate. However, it was known that he was not the child's father, so he had to pay child support, and he did pay child support, and he did not buck it. I mean, he could have went and fought it and said, I signed this, and I acknowledge that I was the dad, but I want to have a paternity test done. And if they would have took that step and would have come back negative, then the child support would have been dropped. But he didn't do that. He actually paid child support for the kid for years that he knew wasn't his. Either way, what's the lawsuit about? Kody passed. The lawsuit is over custody of Truly and child support and things of that nature. So here is respondent Kody Brown, petitioner Christine Woolley. So Christine filed. Kody's the respondent. The dates are cut off, but I think the date was like the 18th. I think the date was the 18th. So petition filed by e-filer, private, let's see, petition for declaration of paternity, child custody, parental time, and support. And then that's domestic relations injunction down there is what I think that says. Okay. How did I jump that? Anyways, we're going to go over this article really quickly. It gives all the details. And I'm not going to lie, I kind of wondered, and this may have absolutely nothing to do with it, but they have been, she left Kody in 2021. It's 3 years later. Like, she hadn't filed for anything before then, but she does now, which is never too late. And really, you don't have to question why somebody did something. But I just wonder, like, oh, there's a rumor going around that Kody and Robin's about to buy a $4 million home. That's just a rumor. We don't know that. I mean, like 8 bedrooms, like, horse stalls, like this huge house. So I was like, I wonder if Kody and Robin selling their home, internet sleuths going through the home and like figuring out that they had thousands of dollars in artwork and statues and things like that. And then Christine may be hearing that they are allegedly buying this $4 million house. If that prompted her in any way, you know, if that prompted her to be like, you know what, if they can afford that, they can pay child support. Like, what the heck? I don't know if it did. I just wonder if it had anything to do with it. Yeah. If he's not on the birth certificate, paternity's got to be established. They're not going to do child support without establishing paternity. But let's get into this filing. All right. 4th Judicial District, Provo District Court, Utah, in the matter of Christine Woolley, Kody Brown, blah, blah, blah. Because this matter involves divorce, annulment, temporary separation, custody, parental time, child support, or paternity, the court makes the following orders. These orders apply to the petitioner and respondent named above. The parties must not harass, intimidate, or disturb the peace of the other party by any means, including electronically. So he cannot harass her for doing this. Okay, so commit domestic violence or abuse against the other party or the child. I'm like, I don't take Kody as someone that's like physically abusive, mentally, emotionally, yes. But I don't take him as being like physically. But I'm always the one to say, like, I'm glad that a judge is telling you you can't beat your wife, you can't beat your kids. But if a person was going to, this piece of paper would not stop them. But I guess it's good that the judge is saying you're not allowed to do this. All right. The parties must not use the other party's name, likeness, image, or identification to get credit, open an account for service, or obtain a service. The parties must not cancel or interfere with telephone, utilities, or other services used by the other party. Yeah, he cannot harass her on air either. I know, don't take my custody. I have FOMO when I'm left out. Dude, you've been left out of their lives by your own decisions. You've been left out of their lives for years. And you talking about you got FOMO? The I'm like, I don't cuss, but in my head, I was like, the what? I mean, I do cuss, but it's very rare. You know what I'm saying? In my head, I did say a cuss word. I was like, the fuck? What? What do you believe FOMO means exactly? Which he said, fear of missing out. I'm like, you've missed out on everything. What are you talking about? He just likes to like pipe himself up, though. You know what I'm saying? I have FOMO, fear of missing out with my family. We've watched you for 10 years. We know you don't have FOMO, Kody. Like, the only fear of missing out you have is at the wedding parties on the dance floor. Anyways, the parties must not cancel, modify, terminate, change the beneficiary, are allowed to lapse for voluntary non-payment of premiums without the written consent of the other party or pursuant to further order of the courts, any policy of health insurance. Oh, next page. Health insurance, homeowners or renters insurance, automobile insurance, or life insurance. If the petition involves the division of property, personal property, or debts, the parties must not transfer, encumber, conceal, or dispose of your property or the other party's property unless you have the written consent of the other party or you have a court order. Thank you, Marsha. I hope she gets everything she can from that deadbeat. I hope she gets everything that she can and everything that she deserves because she deserves child support. She deserves child support for Truly. I mean, they are both Truly's parents, and she deserves that. And she deserved child support for Isabel and for Gwen, and she never got that. So I'm glad she's finally taken the initiative to be like, no, not anymore. Thank you guys all so much. I am feeling a little bit better. Okay. If the petition involves the division of property, personal property, or debts, the parties must not transfer, encumber, conceal, dispose of your property or the other party's property unless you have the written consent of the other party or you have a court order, except in the unusual course of business or to provide for the necessities of life. If the petition involves minor children, the parties must not take the children on non-routine travel unless you have the written consent of the other party or you have a court order or the following information has been provided to the other party. So they cannot, just take them out of town or anything that has not been agreed upon. Let's see. Okay. Okay, the following information has been provided to the other party: an itinerary of travel dates and destinations, how to contact the children or traveling party, and the name and telephone number of an available third person who will know the children's location. In the presence or hearing of the children, okay, let's go back up here. If the petition involves minor children, the parties must not jump down here to B. In the presence or hearing of the children, they must not demean, disparage, talk badly about the other party, attempt to influence the children's preference regarding custody or parental time, or say or do anything that would negatively affect the love and affection of the children for the other party or involve the children in the issue of the petition. C, make parental time arrangements about the children. So you can't make. I put location on Charlie's phone. Oh, I have location on all my kids' phones. And that's just for like whenever my cousin went missing back in February and then, ultimately was found deceased. That was like our family was like everybody gets on location. So like my kids are on my location, but then like my aunts, my uncles, my mom, my cousins, my nieces, my kids are all in a family Life 360 account where we can all watch each other. I'm forever getting notifications that this person's phone is at 10% battery and they need to charge it. And I'm like, please charge your phone. Okay, so they must not make parental time arrangements through the children. When the children are under under a party's care, the party must use best efforts to prevent others from doing anything described above, and if necessary, remove the children from the situation. This domestic relations injunction is effective for the petitioner when the petition is filed, for the respondent when they receive a copy of the injunction entered by the court. The domestic relations injunction is in effect until the final decree is entered, the petition is dismissed, the parties otherwise agree in a writing signed by all parties, or the court orders otherwise. Let's see. A party may ask to modify or dissolve the domestic relations injunction by filing a motion. The motion will be decided as quickly as possible if it is filed before an answer to the petition or any responsive pleading is filed. The moving party must serve the non-moving party at least 48 hours before a hearing. If the motion is filed after a responsive pleading is filed, Utah Rule of Civil Procedure 7 or Rule 101 apply. If there is another order with conflicting provisions governing the parties of their minor children, the parties must comply with the provisions of the other order. This domestic relations injunction does not apply to the Office of Recovery Services. So, I like their orders that you can't talk, and that is like generic orders. I feel like I've seen them in a lot. Like you can't talk bad about the other parent. You can't make parental time with the children. You can't talk badly in front of the children to the other parent. Like I think it lays out. I've seen some things added that are not. I'll be off in a minute. That are not. That are kind of like in specific cases, like children cannot be around another girlfriend or boyfriend. Like I've seen things like that added to it, but I think this one was kind of like pretty generic for when someone's asking for custody, um, child support, and things of that nature. I'm going to go over this article really quickly just to make sure I got everything out there because I want to make sure I get to my Janelle video today. Because if I don't, I won't be able to get to it until Monday. And it's just been eating at me. All right, so let's see. You're suing me? And you expect me to pay you to help take care of our kids? Look at that. That's kind of funny. Kind of accurate. Hey, can Christine get support for 1 year for Isabel because her surgery was in 2000 at the age of 17? Isabel's close to 20, 21 years old right now. Well, I guess she could. I don't know this for sure, but she could file and they could go back up to 3 years. So depending on her age, because they can order retroactive child support in Utah to go back 4 years. In Louisiana, I think it can go back 10 years, but in Utah, I read it's only 4. So if she was 22, then it would only go back to the year that she was 18. Because she's not 22 and she's maybe 20, 21, she could possibly get it for like a year or two. Or he would have arrears for a year or two that she was 17, 18. If I'm understanding that correctly, but I don't know that. All right, let's see. Christine Brown has lawyered up and has taken her ex Kody to court. I don't like all these ads. All right, news broke on Thursday. The Sister Wives star has filed a paternity suit in a Utah court against Kody in regards to Truly, the 14-year-old daughter that they share together. Um, Christine, who left Kody in 2021 and moved to Utah with Truly, is demanding that Kody take a paternity test to show that Truly is his biological daughter. As Sister Wife fans will remember, Christine was Kody's third wife, and since their marriage wasn't legal and they weren't open about being polygamous, Kody's name does not appear on any of the birth certificates for his and Christine's 6 kids. I do not know if that was for certain, but the Ashley says that it is. Christine has also filed for child support and custody, but first needs to prove that Kody is indeed Truly's father before she can get those things. Um, so she's 21 then. She just turned 21, I think. On September 16th, Christine, using her married name, Christine Woolley, filed a petition for declaration of paternity, child support, or child custody, parental time, and support. Although the actual petition has been sealed and can't be viewed publicly, the Ashley can confirm that a domestic relations injunction was also filed alongside Christine's paternity suit. The injunction states that neither party can harass, intimidate, or disturb the peace of the other party and by any means, including electronically. You cannot text them mean things. It also forbids both parties from communicating domestic violence for committing domestic violence or abuse against the other party or the child that they share. The injunction also sets rules for both parties when it comes to dealing with Truly while the court case is active. Neither parent can take Truly on a trip unless the other party consents and has travel details and a way of contacting Truly. They are also forbidden from saying anything to dismean or disparage, talk badly about the other parties in front of or within earshot of Truly, nor can they attempt to influence the child's preference regarding custody or parental times. They must have got a lot of food stamps. I wonder. I was about to say, I bet they did, but then I was like, I wonder. I feel like that's like something that I've read about too, is that they actually did get a lot of assistance from the government. A lot of families do. The injunction forbids Kody and Christine from saying or doing anything that would negatively affect the love and affection of the children for the other party or involve the children in the issue of the petition. They both have to ensure that no one else who is around Truly can do anything that breaks these rules. That's good. That not only can't do it, nobody else can do it. That's not all. Christine's filings means that her poodle perm ex will be required to attend both mandatory parenting classes and divorce orientation class. Christine is also required to take those classes. The classes are available online, which will allow Kody, who still lives in Arizona, to complete them within the required 30-day time frame. Mandatory parenting classes and divorce orientation classes. It does not appear that Kody has filed any type of response in the 3 days since Christine has filed the case. Hey, Megan. Truly is one of Kody's 3 minor children. The other 2 are Solomon and Ariella, who live with Kody and his wife Robin. The father of 18 is estranged from many of his adult children, and it's unknown how his current relationship with Truly really is. Last October, Christine explained during an episode of Sister Wives that she felt that moving Truly to Utah with her helped preserve the good relationship that existed at one time between Kody and Truly. Not really, Georgia. I haven't really much lately. I need to get back into that. I would love to get back into that. I knew that I was taking Truly away from her dad. I felt like the best way to preserve Truly's relationship with Kody was to move her away from him. And I know that sounds bizarre. It's almost like I froze their relationship in time. I took their relationship while it was still good, and I picked up and I moved. And then whenever we come back into town, I just pick it up again and I move it back, and it's preserved. But you can't deny that you lose that bond when you don't see your family for so long. You know what I'm saying? Like, I get what she's saying, but like when you're away from your dad for so long, you really do lose that bond. But it's Kody's job to make sure he sees his child. It's not really Christine's. I mean, she can't force him to do it. She can say, hey, why don't you get Truly? Hey, you're allowed to get Truly. Hey, we're coming in if you want to get Truly, but she really can't force it upon him. It's really going to be up to him. During that same episode, Kody gave his thoughts on Christine's claim that moving helped to keep Kody's relationship with Truly in a good place. I'll try to look into it this weekend. For Christine to say that she's saving her relationship with Truly, that she's saving that relationship that she's saving her relationship with Truly by taking her away from me and just preserving it. That's such BS rationalization. I'm laughing now because it's ridiculous. During an 2022 episode, which was filmed right after Christine told Kody she was leaving him, Kody made it clear that he didn't feel that he and Christine needed to involve the government to figure out a custody agreement for Truly. Kody was even more adamant that if it came to a place where he and Christine needed to get a legal child custody agreement, he did not want it to be filed in Utah, as he feels that the state of Utah hates him. You have to have a child custody agreement in place. Otherwise, the state gets involved. He says, later telling his ex, we're not doing anything ever in Utah. Don't ever involve Utah. If she's living there, we get a child custody agreement here in Arizona. As the Ashley stated above, Christine went ahead and filed the paternity suit in Utah. If they would have filed in Arizona before she moved, it would have had a lot of the same conditions that you can't leave, you can't move without the other one's permission. You can't just take her out of state without the other one's permission, which then she might could have been in a pickle if she would have got the custody agreement in Arizona. And then afterwards said, well, I want to move to Utah. And he would have been like, no, I don't want you to do that. He might would have had to take that issue up in court. But either way, she filed in Utah. He will have so many days to respond to this. And because some of it is sealed, I don't know if his answer, what he responds, I don't know if that's going to be sealed as well. But we'll be keeping an eye on it. And if it does come out, we'll go over it. We'll talk about it. I can't even imagine how mad Kody is. Like, I feel like Kody is really going to be ticked off about this. He's going to have to provide his tax records for the past 2 years so they can figure out how much he's going to owe Christine for child support. She's going to go back up to 4 years. So he will automatically have more that he has to cover. So I know in like Louisiana, the way that it works, if you get child support and say you're ordered $500 a month, but you have arrears, they total the amount of arrears, they divide that by so much, and then they say, we're going to tack on an extra $150 a month to go towards your arrears. So really, you end up paying more in child support each month than what it's even initially set at because you're trying to pay those arrears down. You're already in debt with the child support because you got 4 years of arrears. I think legally he has to respond, like, or she's just automatically granted well, he has to do the paternity test. I mean, all he could do is prolong it, but I am going to do the Janelle. Yes, I'm just trying to get all my ducks in a row for the Janelle story because there's just so many like moving parts to it, you know. I hope they were filming when he got served. Part of me is like, you know, this is real life for them, and this may be something that like really like bothers him. I don't know. It's like a part of me feels like I'm not privy to that, but I feel like Kody would want cameras there when he got served to see like oh, can't miss out on that. Like we need cameras here. Something big is happening. But I am curious how Kody and Robin are going to feel about this because the only kids that I really feel like Kody has ever really like put a lot of effort into has been his and Robin's kids. Like I do kind of feel that way. I feel like when they were younger, he seemed pretty present in the kids' lives, but as they got older, he wasn't, and he was more focused on the little kids. How's he going to buy a new house when the arrears go in place on his credit? Yeah, they will. I know when I used to pull credit back in the day, it would say child support was listed on there. I don't know what the laws are for Utah if child support goes on your credit. I'm not sure, but in Louisiana it does. I think eventually they can just garnish his wages, and they may do that. They may end up garnishing his wages. I'll be off in just a minute. Anyways, you guys, I got a kid, you know, that's come to the door twice, but I was kind of shocked to see that she went ahead and filed, but then not so much so because I was like, I know they've always been conditioned that you don't do this, you don't do this, you don't go to the cops, you don't take things to court. But she's really pulled away from it so much so in the past few years. So I'm kind of like, if anyone was going to do it, it would probably be her. But we're going to continue to keep up with this. I just feel like Robin is probably upset. Kody is upset. We don't know what's happening with them. Their house is for sale. There's always all these rumors going around about what they're going to do, where they're going to be. Did they buy a house? Are they building on the property? Like, what's going to become of that? And in the first episode of this new season, Kody says he wants to sell Kody Pass. So we really are just unsure. But we are going to keep up with this. You guys make sure you subscribe to the channel if you want to keep up with Christine and Kody's custody, child support, paternity lawsuit. Also, I do full recaps on Mondays of the show. So the show comes on Sunday. Monday, I do a full recap and we talk about each episode. Join me back here shortly to talk about Janelle, who it seems left her children for like possibly like 3 weeks while she was in North Carolina. She left her children with just randoms who were babysitting them while they were in Vegas. So yeah, join me back here for that. Make sure you like, share, subscribe. That thumbs up button is the best way that you can support me on the way out. It's just hitting that thumbs up button. And yeah, subscribe and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye guys. It'll be shortly, okay? Like 30 minutes, maybe a little bit longer. Bye guys.